What is going on, everyone? Let us put our nerd glasses on and analyze a couple deals. I have these buyers are in a 1031 exchange, meaning they have to buy something. They're going to pay a lot in taxes. And so we're looking at two deals right here. And so I want to share with you how to compare and contrast deals, because so many times you want to invest in real estate, but you have so many different options. But you have to take into consideration a lot of different things, and we're going to dive into it right now. I'm going to show you kind of a little bit about my process about how to do that. So first off, we have this one on that I'm selling actually. Let's see, not that one. This one right here. It's a octagon house. It's beautifully remodeled. These people want pride of ownership. They want something that's really nice in a good neighborhood. You know, not a cash flow, deferred maintenance kind of thing, but just something that's going to be steady Eddie, stay rented, high demand, that kind of a thing. All right, so we got that one. And then we got an off-market deal right here, and this one's pretty cool as well. It's in Cal Park. It's got garages. It's it's decent. So we have these two properties right here, and we're looking at, okay, which one's the best one to buy? They're so different. So let's look at this one. This is the Octagon House on 5th Street downtown. 5 units, bringing in $8,000 gross monthly income, okay? Now this one, and I'm gonna just hide this. One thing about investment property, you have to know basically Excel, you know, because there's so many calculations. It does a bunch of calculations for you, so it's super important. All right, so 8,000 coming in. We have all these expenses. This one's older, so the repairs and maintenance is twice as much as this one over here, because this one's built in 2006. This one's built in 1900, but it's newly remodeled. It's got new HVAC, roof, landscaping, everything else. But still, want to account for that. Bigger property, the bigger the property, the more expenses. This one's got some water and landscaping and garbage expenses over here. So this purchase price is going to be $1.2 million. This one's $850,000. Okay, so that's a huge difference. But you want to look at the cap rate. Cap rate on this one's 5.4%. Cap rate over here 4.6%. So we're almost a percentage difference. And that's how much. That's the net operating income divided by the purchase price. So how much this thing performs. This one's about, you know, it's about 20% more income coming in per dollar that you spend on it. I hope that makes sense. So this one, we're going to have to get debt. So they only have 925 coming out. They got to place 925. So this one, they're going to have to get a loan for 900,000, and they're going to pay the commission. So there's a little bit of nuances to this one. When they pay the commissions on it, basically it lowers the purchase price. They still come in and they don't have to pay the property taxes. The seller doesn't have to pay the gains. So there's a little bit of advantage on who pays the real estate agent, aka me. So that's what they're going to do. So we're going to get at 1.2. There's going to be a little bit of cash infusion for the commissions on it, but the loan amounts will be $300,000. It's going to be a seller carry at 5.5% interest only. So this one's slightly leveraged at $300,000 of leverage, where this one's all cash. Okay, so let's look at the cash flow. This one's going to bring in $4,000 a month cash flow after paying your debt service, and this one's going to bring in $33,000 annualized. This is $48,000. This one's $40,000. And the cash on cash return, meaning the cash you put in, the $900,000 versus the $850, the return on this one 5.1, the return on this one 4.6. See how the numbers play into effect here. Now, people don't just, let me just talk to you for a second, make this bigger. People don't just invest in real estate because of cash flow. That's one of the reasons. But they also invest because of depreciation. Okay, on your taxes, you can depreciate it every year. The more real estate you have, the more depreciation you can take. Number two is appreciation. Let's just say real estate appreciates 3% a year. If you have $2 million, 3% a year is $60,000. If you have $1 million in real estate, 3% a year is $30,000. If you have $10 million, it's $300,000. So there's advantages in appreciation to owning more real estate. The more real estate you own, the more appreciation you're going to get. Also, the more depreciation you're going to take off your taxes. There's also debt service too. Generally, the renters are paying down your debt service, so there's principal pay down. It's also an advantage. All right, so let's look at this. So we compare and contrast. This one has an $8,000 difference here. Over 5 years, that's going to be, if they hold this for 5 years and sell it for 5 years, $45,000 more cash is going to be in their pocket, giving all of our assumptions. There's no principal pay down here. let's say it appreciates 3% a year. And this is where you have to kind of understand Excel. So this is a future value calculation. So you kind of got to know what you're doing a little bit to make this calculation a little more complicated here for the formulas. But it appreciates 3% a year for 5 years. At the end of those 5 years, you should be able to exit or sell that property at just about 1.4 million. So you buy it for 1.2, 5 years later, 1.4 is the sale price. Now sometimes it goes up and down, but generally over 3 years, let's say constant, you're gonna do pretty good. This one, it's gonna sell for $985. Get it for $850. 5 years later, $985. So the appreciation gain over here, $191. Appreciation here, $135. The difference is $55,000. You're gonna sell. You're gonna gain $55,000 more dollars by buying a more expensive piece of real estate than a less expensive one in this scenario. But that's not it. Depreciation. You can depreciate a property. You can't depreciate land, but the building, usually 80% of the purchase price is considered the building, generally speaking. That fluctuates. Over 27 and a half years, you can depreciate it, So, and there's ways to increase this, do accelerated depreciation. We're not going to get into that right now, but let's just say you depreciate the 80% of that purchase price for the building over 27 and a half years. For the Octagon house, it's going to be about $35,000. It's a paper loss on your taxes that goes against your income. No one likes paying the IRS, and one of the beauties of owning real estate is taking depreciation loss. Okay. This one, you're only going to be able to depreciate $25,000. So you're going to take a loss of $10,000 more dollars on the Octagon house over 5 years. You're going to be able to claim $50,000 more dollars in tax losses with the Octagon house. In addition to that, these people, they have to place 925. In a 1031 exchange, your what's called boot, you have to place that, and you have to have equal or greater value to avoid those capital gains. If you get lesser value, so in this one they have 925 as boot, 75,000. If they buy it for 80, I hope you're tracking with me, 850,000. There's a $75,000 difference, and it depends on your taxes. Sometimes it's 40, 35. We're going to conservative say 35% is your tax bracket. You're going to pay 35% to the IRS on that 75,000. So you're going to pay the IRS $26,000 at the end of that 1031 exchange for this one, as opposed to this one, you're going to pay $0. So when you look at it, you're going to gain a $55,000 in 5 years. You're going to get $45,000 more dollars in cash flow. You're going to get $55,000 more dollars in appreciation. So right here, we're already looking at a $100,000 gain in difference over 5 years. You're going to be able to depreciate $50,000 more dollars. You're going to have to take more of a loss, and you're going to save yourself $26,000 in IRS fees. So when you're dealing with investors, you have to understand the numbers, because the story and the decision becomes clear as you run the numbers, which property is going to give you a way higher return. When you add all of this up, we're looking over 5 years, 125,000, 100, depending on the tax bracket and the depreciation, you're well over $100,000 difference in making a decision for one property versus another. So run the numbers, learn how to use Excel or Google Sheets, and then be able to communicate to investors. And if you're interested in buying or selling investment property and want me, I've developed a whole entire cash flow calculator that's pretty high tech. And it is up here, but I'll show it to you later. But it's very high tech. Let me know about it. I analyze the cash flow on every single deal in all of Butte County that's residential income, and it makes it really clear which one that you should go for. So good decisions come from good information. Have a real estate agent like myself who understands the numbers, understands how to do the calculations, explain taxes, and all these other things. That is it. Thank you for staying with me.